What's up, everybody? My name is KSaun, and welcome back to the WDL. This is Season 3, Week 8 of the Wezette Division, and we've got some awesome best of threes for you guys today. So first of all, let's take a look at the standings. In first place, we've got MacRain of the Materia Hunters. He's an absolutely amazing player, amazing dude, facing another amazing player and amazing person, Ram9 of the Rock Boys. They are facing off against each other this week, so whoever wins that, whether it's 2-0, 2-1, it doesn't matter. Whoever wins that will be in first place at the end of this week. I'm going to save that for last because it should be a good one. Numero 80 of the Blind Enthusiast with 16 points. A series win would clinch them a playoff spot. A loss puts them on the fringe of not making it. We'll have to see what happens there. Chisei of the Heretics, very similar, with a series win, would clinch themselves a playoff spot. Garouken of Corked and Screwed with 13 points. My team, the Zanarkand, with 11. It was a really start where it gets to be kind of those fringe playoff teams. Who will end up making it? We'll have to see. Along with Greatestness, State Military. He's got a tough matchup this week going against Numero 80 of Blind Enthusiasts. That is a massive matchup to watch. Shadow 91 of the Logic Breakers, I don't think is technically out of the playoffs, but he has to win out, and he needs a lot of things to go his way. So we'll have to see if that works out for him. Mr. Aloha of Team Pokesquid and 25th Bama Black Turtles looking to play spoiler in the final 2 weeks. It should be a good time, guys. Let's jump into the series. Game number 1 between Numero 80, coach of the Blind Enthusiast, versus Greatestness, coach of State Military. And this should be a banger. A couple of teams who are looking to push for that playoff spot. Greatestness needs to get a couple of things done in the last couple of weeks, but Numero 80 is in a good position. King Bradley going to start off with his Courage buff, and Garvel is going to pop his barrier, while Sephiroth goes Mass Immune in waiting, getting that Scintilla buff, as well as the AoE upgrades for him and Garvel. But here is Aurora of Blessings, the Starlight Elena TMR rocking on Eileen. Probably a pretty smart tech coming out from Greatestness to try and get that dark resistance up, as Nasha will Keen Blade and walk forward. And King Bradley's going to pop his own Trust Master, getting haste and reaction block great. So now Zazan, the end rarity unit with the Heart of Flutter, Sweetheart Eldiro TMR getting unit attack resist and a bunch of movement. Eileen's going to use Sharp Spear. She can do a lot of damage if she gets an opportunity. Will she get the opportunity? Garvel's going to pop Boon of the Lion, King Mont's Trustmaster with AoE resist on the party. And this Garvel and Sephiroth I expect to be somewhat tanky. Calculated Ren going to do a good chunk of damage. Raise that King Bradley CT. Does not one-shot the Zazan, but gets pretty close. Nasha's going to pop her Immortal Spirit, so she has Courage, and she's walking closer to the fight. And Sephiroth says, hey, that's a nice TMR, Bradley. Mind if I use it? And here comes King Bradley again with the standard attack. Will clean up Zazan. It is early 3v2 in Greatestness' favor. But the two big units on the other side are still there. However, Eileen will refresh the Dark Resistance buff, which should hopefully allow this team to tank up some of these hits. Hell's Gate's going to come through, though. 5,200 damage is a lot more than I think you'd like to see on Eileen, and Bradley took almost half his health as well. Detonation Blast from Garvel does a ton of damage, kills the Eileen before she ever had a chance to do any damage, and this is looking pretty good for Numero 80 here. King Bradley's going to go Calculated Ren, though. That will get through Garvel's barrier, doing a good chunk of damage, but you can see how much AoE res there is on the team. Blade Bash with a nice slash chain doing about 3k, does not land the stun. Deliric Fury coming out from Sephiroth is not enough to finish off the tank. What can Bradley do? I imagine should be able to kill Garvel here. He will do that. Sephiroth tanks the damage decently well, though. It is in a 2v1 advantage, and he uses Shadow Flare. He does not have the AP for his Limit Break, which means both units are going to survive with their Courage. 2 units with 1 HP versus a half-health Sephiroth. Who wins this? Assault Blade does about 3k, drops the defense. Nasha, does she have any ranged spells online? There are dead bodies in her way. She is going to Guardian while she can't get there, and she's going to stand still. This means Sephiroth is going to slash Bradley in half instead of going for Nasha. I think Greatestness would have won this, and now this is going to be tough to pull off. Can Nasha actually get damage down? She can. She's going to go for Saintly Cross. It'll actually heal her up a little bit. She has 673 health, but I don't think she can survive. The Shifting Strike does 889, and Numero 80 and the Blind Enthusiast pick up the Game 1 victory. Heading into Game number 2 here, Numero 80 and the Blind Enthusiast rocking the same team they brought to Game 1. Greatestness, however, switching it up. Didn't like that Eileen died in 2 hits, and it looks like not Sephiroth, Hio and King Mont, as the buff from Hio comes out, trying to get that counter up for later in the fight. Proclamation comes out from King Mont, giving agility and some hate. Garvel obviously pops his barrier, just like he does in most fights, and the King Bradley TMR right out of the gate from Sephiroth here. What is Severo going to go for? He's going to go Aurora of Blessing. So still opting for the Starlight Elite in a TMR, and against numero 80, who has rocked Dark units for most of his season, I think that is probably a smart move. The Heart of Flutter TMR coming up from Zazan again, just like the first fight, but the difference is he is on the other side of the map. Will these units be able to deal with him before closing in on those 2 Dark units? We'll see. Burning Drive does about 5,400 to the Zazan. Obviously, with the elemental disadvantage not doing quite as much as you'd like, I don't imagine King Mont can land a kill here. He's going to go Maiming Slash. 4,600 damage is not enough to get a kill. Severo should be able to take care of that. However, he has not gotten his courage buff up, and this might bait Severo out a little bit before he gets his buff off. No, I take that back. Hio actually goes in front of him and will seal the kill. So this is a 3v2 in Greatestness favor, again, similar to game 1, but what is the difference compared to the last one? Kalem's Pride coming out from King Mont. Can he soak up some of these hits? Severo is in range to do damage. He's going to do Waterga. 997 is very little, but it does drop the Bravery, which means Sephiroth should do less damage. Hell's Gate actually survived by the Severo as well as the other 2 units. King Mont needs to move out of the way of his allies here. Will he do so? Yes, he will. Fangs of Leonis, 1,300. Not a lot of damage on a Garvel considering he has that barrier. The Disable does not land either. I'm sure Greatestness is hoping to get that. Spirit Piercing right up on the Garvel as he did over 4k to King Mont. Heat Drive, good damage from the Hio, but Sephiroth is inevitable. Here he comes with a massive AoE. Octaslash is going to hit. And the courage on Severo, even if it was there, wouldn't matter here, as he's going to take him out, doing a good chunk to King Mont. King Mont will get his heal back, though, so basically nullifying that damage. And in this 2v2, this should be an interesting fight. Garvel does not have the damage to take out King Mont. Hio needs to put in some work here, but King Mont has no AP. His standard attacks does not kill the Garvel. Hio does not have the AoE onto Sephiroth. He goes only for the Garvel, and he has just enough AP to get it done here. Sephiroth with another Hell's Gate. Cannot find a kill onto either, but with 2 units with no AP, I think the advantage still goes to Sephiroth here. The standard attack for 445 is not going to do a whole lot. Hio, does he buff or does he find damage? He's going to buff. He's going to go Beast Roar, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Sephiroth should have plenty of AP for an AoE. He does. He's going to go Shadow Flare. That is enough damage for a double kill, and that is a 2-0 series victory for numero 80 and the Blind Enthusiasts, who clinch their playoff spot. Next up, we've got Chisei, coach of the Heretics, versus Bam, coach of the Black Turtles. Chisei in good position to try and make the playoffs, but Bam is here to try and play spoiler. Here comes the Keenblade coming out from Stern Wing of Destiny, getting that CT up on the party. Normally try and see this maybe on like the second or third person using it, but a smart move to have Stern use it instead of your tank. Sometimes it can be a little awkward to have the tank run it. The regen comes out from Naya, Saintly Fortress coming out from Titus, and this is actually another reason to use Keenblade on Stern, because Titus really needs to get Saintly Fortress on to be effective. Triple Flight's going to come out, so that 3-hit barrier from Titus is now gone, but he still should have about 10 hate, and he has tons of missile resistance, as we can see here, as Charisse did basically no damage there. The Enchanting Skies comes out from the Summer Helena, as Aimfire comes out from Krace. She's going to start to walk forward, and Stern gets his Reawakening buff online, so he is ready to go. This team comp we've seen from Chisei a handful of times. It's very, very strong. Good bulk, good sustain, and Stern is enough of a damage dealer to get things done by himself. Can these double missile units plus Helena get through him? We'll have to see. Saintly Fortress is actually going to get refreshed on Titus. So now he has his barrier back online. He also has Reflect. And man, oh man, that could spell trouble for Summer Helena. Triple Flight's going to come through again, so that barrier is gone for a second time. What does Summer Helena go for? It's Immortal Spirit. So she has her courage. She's going to walk forward. What can Krace do? Can she find a status effect? Arm Shot comes through. The Disable does not land. I couldn't see from the angle there. Oh, Arc of Alacrity comes out from Stern, though. He is still not able to find damage, but unless they can disable somebody in the backline like Stern or Naya, this is going to be so hard to deal with. Titus is just so tanky versus Missile. 100 Edges finds a double kill onto the 2 missile units from Bam, and Summer Helena has her work cut out for her. Saintly Fortress again for a third time. He says, stop getting rid of my barrier. I want this online, dang it. And here comes Summer Helena. What is she going to go for? She's going to go for the Limit Break. So this cannot be reflected. What kind of damage does it do, though? We'll have to see. 7,300 is quite a bit onto the Stern. Also drops AoE resist on both. The problem is Naya is here to heal them back to full here, and it's going to go off. Here comes Stern. I imagine we'll be able to do a ton of damage here. Actually, did he not move? I thought it was his turn. Maybe that was just a miss by me. I thought. Oh my god. Wait. Holy crap, she just killed herself. Okay, guys, I have to explain what the hell just happened. It was Stern's turn, but he didn't move, I think, because he knew that Summer Helena was about to kill herself with her spell. I think that's what was about to happen. Oh my goodness, that reflect on Titus. Summer Helena literally just attacked Titus, courage removed herself, and one-shot herself. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, Bam. That is a terrible ending, but that is absolutely insane. That is a game 1 victory for Chisei and the Heretics. I watched that game 1 back. I'm still not sure why Stern didn't move. He somehow knew that Helena was about to kill herself, but she was not channeling a spell at the moment. So if you guys know, let me know down in the comments. Regardless, Keenblade comes out from the Stern just like game 1, and it looks like the same turn rotation coming out from Chisei. Curative Field comes out, and I apologize, I missed this last time. This is not Naya's normal regen buff. This is actually the 9 STMR to help protect against other status effects as well. So very nice tech coming out from Chisei here, as Titus is going to go Saintly Fortress, walk forward. Bam switching up the comp though. Here comes Kefka, Mish, and Charisse, and she's actually going to go Limit Break on turn 1 here instead of the Triple Flight. 632, removing buffs means that he doesn't have hate anymore, and that is a brilliant change coming up from Bam now, because Titus without hate is not nearly as effective as he would be. Light of Judgment comes out, 5100 damage is good damage, and I will say without hate, he's still in the front, so he's basically still tanking regardless, but a reflex coming out from Mish is pretty huge here. That means he does not drop in that one hit from Stern, and Bam's units might actually get an opportunity to put some damage down here. We'll have to see. Naya's going to heal Titus to full, or at least I imagine close to full. Charisse is out of AP, so she's going to buff. No, she's going to standard attack the Stern. Okay, and this pretty much confirms, though, Titus does not have any hate at the moment. He walks forward, interestingly enough, does not go for Saintly Fortress. I think that's because he still has a hit of his barrier left, so he does not opt to go for it. And this is actually kind of working out for Bam. Light of Judgment plus comes out from the Kefka and a nice AoE, but Stern is going to go for before the Mish, and that is really rough to see from Bam's side. Maybe could have cleaned up a kill onto the Stern, but now I don't think it's possible here. Naya's going to be able to go with a heal, unless her cast time is too slow and Kefka can go for an attack. How is this going to work out? What is the timing? Kefka goes first. If he limit breaks, this could be massive. What is he going to go for? Magic Reflex onto the Naya, but Dance of the Mad does come out. But man, oh man, that Magic Reflex from Naya could actually be huge, because this means her heal is still going to go off instead of getting confused. Oh my goodness, the Kuriga comes through. If that confusion would have landed, the heal doesn't go through. The standard attack kill is still there for Stern. So I think Chisei probably wins this and probably would have still won. I don't know though. No, I'm convinced. I'm convinced that Magic Reflex was the difference here. I think Kefka one-shots Naya there. Oh man, this is going to be so rough here. I think Chisei wins this unless a Berserk. No, Maddening Arrow, the Berserk does not land. The Aegis Crush comes out from Stern. It's going to clean it up. That is a Game 2 victory for Chisei and the Heretics. I will say, though, guys, that was well played by Bam. Seriously. The switch to not have Triple Flight and go for the debuff to remove hate onto Titus, I think that was a really smart thing. The Magic Reflex from Naya, playing that out, I don't know. Maybe she lives that hit. But if she doesn't live that limit break from Kefka, or she gets confused, which I think either one is a very likely chance. The heal doesn't go off. The Clean Piercer from Charisse would have killed Stern. Although I say that, I think he might have had re-raise online. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments if you think that reflex mattered. Regardless, though, an impressive victory, 2-0. Congratulations to Chisei and the Heretics. Game number 1 of my team, the Zanarkand Abes versus Shadow 91's the Logic Breakers, and he is trying to bring the Thancred, Celis, and Elshra versus my Order 66 full lightsaber comp, as Cloud is going to go with the agility buff on the entire party. Heart of Flutter coming out from Rain, and I will say I screwed up this initial turn rotation a little bit here. Keenblade coming out on the Shut Salt and Cloud. This was supposed to be before Rain moved forward, but I digress. Here we go. Revitalize coming out from the Thancred. He's going to have tons of AP as he's going to walk forward. Elshra is going to start channeling a spell, and Celis is going to go Runic Blade. With the Elshra way up on the top here, actually goes Quicken onto the Thancred instead of the Celis. I think that is because of the height range, trying to get that Thancred forward here. He's going to pop the Dragon's Kin, walk forward, King Bradley TMR onto the Cloud, getting that haste and reaction block rate. And with his 140, he actually has 100 reaction block rate at the moment. Hazard Revival onto Shutzelt, though. He is built different with his 140. He now has Courage and a massive heal back, very similar to Snow, if you've seen him before. Astral Guard coming out from the rain gives him some hate and a magic barrier, and Punisher mode gives Cloud some AoE res. So here comes Elshra. I imagine to quicken, it's actually a meteor. Long range damage coming out onto the rain, but soaked up pretty nicely. Only 1600. Magic Burst is going to hit both him and Shutzelt. Drop the AoE resist a little bit, just with a little bit of chip damage, but Pressure Hazard from Shutzelt is massive. Lands the stop onto Thancred, who's supposed to be the main damage dealer here. And Cloud says, hey, that water tank, let's get rid of her. 9,000 damage is enough to delete her from the battlefield here. And with a stopped Thancred, this fight is looking like it is probably already over. Here comes the Elshra, though, trying to deal some more damage. Meteor onto the Rain again, who has massive AoE resist, so she's just going with single target. Shutzelt going to follow up with a Pressure Hazard. She actually lives it. Only 5,800 damage. But here comes Cloud with a Braver, sealing a second kill in the battle for himself. 8,000 damage. And here comes Rain. He has his range skills turned off, so he's not going to do any damage. Elshra's going to get one more opportunity. Goes for the Hazard Slash. Actually does 7,200 to my Shutzelt, excuse me. But he gets a massive heal back. He is going to take his lightsaber and slice right through her. And that is a Game 1 victory for my team, Zanarkand Abes. Game 2 here, guys, with Shadow and my team. I actually switched the sides, so I do apologize for that here. But on the other side, I'm running Concentration, and now I have perfected my initial turn rotation. Keenblade should come out second here, and then the Heart of Flutter will come out from Rain. I'm actually not entirely sure how I screwed this up the first fight, but regardless, I fixed it for the second one, and this is the turn rotation that I wanted. But this is a unit that I was a little fearful of. It is the Orlando. He does quite a bit of damage, and he's getting his AP Restore up, as well as a number of nice little buffs here. I imagine that Elshra is going to go another Quicken onto him. And this is the zombie TMR coming out from Thancred. So opting away from the Celis, probably a smart strategy here. Devotion coming out from the Orlando. He's got his Samurai sub-job online. And here comes my Cloud with the King Bradley TMR on turn 2. So he's aced it up. He's ready to go. And speaking of ready to go, Shutzelt with his Hazard Revival. He is as well. Here comes Rain. He should be going for the Astral Guard. So he's got tons of hate at the moment. And unless you can dispel it, he is a very, very good tank at this stage in the game with his new AoE resist and his upgrades. He is very, very solid. Punisher mode with the AoE resist on Cloud, so he's ready to take AoE hits as well. But here comes Orlando looking to find a nice AoE here. Swordplay Thunder God is going to give himself haste. How much damage does this do to the Shutzelt? I expect Rain to tank it very well. 1,300, but Shutzelt takes 4,200, about half down. But here he comes back with a Drain Force for 7,400 damage, healing himself up almost 9k. Rain is going to finish off the kill with a Soul Prominence, and I am out to an early 3v2 lead here. Blasting Zone does about 1,200 damage to my Rain. Cloud's going to walk forward and just refresh the concentration. He's concentrating very hard. He's not really doing any damage, but that is okay here. Here comes Elshra. I imagine going for another offensive spell like the first game. Pressure Hazard, 6,900 damage, a very nice number, but it does not land the stop this time. Meteor, though, is going to hit Rain for another 15. And here comes Cloud with the Limit Break. And this is going to go into the Thancred and going to remove his first life. He does have the re-raise, but that did 11,999 in case we cut the animation short there. He comes back with the zombie TMR. Can Rain finish it off with a slash chain? No, he cannot. Undermine is just barely not enough to find the kill here. Thancred with 31 AP goes rough to buy, doing about 3,100 to the tank, but it's just not enough damage here. Banished Blade comes out from the Elshra, still cannot claim a kill. Shutzelt going to follow up with Pressured Hazard, this time critting, doing about 8,500 damage. And Cloud should be able to finish this fight off here with his Stun Blade for 9,200. GG's to Shadow91. I honestly had a great time chatting with him. Super cool guy. We voice chatted for quite a while, actually, after our battles, just kind of shooting the shit. He was actually an old Friday Night Fights player too, which I'm sure we probably matched up against each other multiple times. He is a great player. If I'm being completely honest, every once in a while in the WDL, you match up against a team where you just really don't have a way to beat that team, and I really felt like this was how my Greatsword team matched up against his. It's absolutely nothing against him as a player. Unfortunately, his team roster just doesn't have an answer for this team. So unfortunately, you run into that every once in a while. But regardless, happy to take the win, and let's check out the next series. Game number 1 of Garouken's Corked and Screwed versus Mr. Aloha's team, hashtag Pokesquid. Looks like Garouken running a familiar team with the double fire evasion girls, Yuffie, Sweetheart Ildira, and Silma as Wu-Tai Dash comes out from the Yuffie. Sweetheart Ildira is going to run Shadow Flux on turn 1, getting that barrier AP restore. A bunch of good stuff for her. On the other side, it looks like team hashtag Pokesquid's running the double Wind Spear girls with the Spirit of Wezette buff coming out from Glaciella alongside Warrior of Light to tank. Looks like this should be a fast cast coming out from Silma to try and get that haste up. And Way of the Void, very cool TMR tech to see coming out from Sosha. This is Hio's TMR, giving fire attack resistance, expecting the fire evasion team. Maybe a good call from Mr. Aloha as the Keenblade comes out from Warrior of Light. However, he does have to walk backwards in order to get this done. Not entirely sure that's what you want to see from your tank. Here comes the momentum buff coming out from Glaciella Flagbearer though, and she is tanky enough to live a hit, so even if she is out front, Mr. Aloha's team might be alright here as the haste and reaction block is on for Glaciella. Dragon's Might comes out from Sosha, and the hasted up Yuffie catching that fast cast is also going to go Brumal for him, so for 3 turns, guaranteed hit nullification. Where Sosha actually does have guaranteed hit for a few turns, but I don't believe they connect through the guaranteed hit nullification. So, we'll have to see how this goes. Sweetheart Ildira is out of buffs as Silma's going to channel another fast cast. The Brave Presence coming out from Warrior of Light to try and stack up some hate. And both of these fire evasion girls are very, very speedy at this point. What is Glaciella going to go for? She can find the damage. Triple Cross is going to come out. That means the barrier is no longer online for Sweetheart Ildira. If Sosha could chain up with it, she could do a lot of damage, but Ildira is going to go before her. And before that, we've got Yuffie coming to play. Bloodbath is going to come out. This is a massive chain onto the Glaciella Flagbearer, trying to get rid of that barrier. That 3-hitter really trying to, mitigate that damage. And actually did a pretty good job here. Glaciella's probably going to get some damage here. Looks like an AoE on both her and Sosha. With that tank still not being out front, he is not able to catch this damage here. We'll see how it does. 31-15 is actually soaked pretty well by the Glaciella. Some damage onto the Sosha. She actually tanked that fairly well as well. The problem, though, is the Sweetheart Ildira's limit break is absolutely massive in terms of CT manipulation. This means Yuffie and Ildira can both chain up again. There's going to be a huge fire chain, even if this is a Pierce attack. This could be massive for Garouken on the rotation here. Sweetheart Ildira is going to go next. What does she have in store for us? It's going to be a Blinding Trinity, and this is a massive fire chain. I have to imagine Yuffie's going to take out Sosha. Sosha, does she move out of the way? No, she's going to jump up into the air, though. So hold on a second. Yuffie might not be able to even catch Sosha with this. And I take it back. It was intended for Glaciella the whole time. I thought she was going to Sosha. That is not the case, but Glaciella Flagbird, the main carry on Aloha's team, is gone already. Jamming Dive does respectable damage to the Sweetheart Ildira, but I just don't think there's going to be enough damage on Aloha's team to try and swing this. Mr. Aloha's Warrior of Light has plenty of health, but these fire girls are really starting to chain down the Sosha. And I don't think Warrior of Light has a way to hit the evasion units. Silma has yet to enter the fight as well, as Sosha does catch a reflex, so a little bit lucky there, but Windstorm damage caps the Warrior of Light. That is so much damage, and it looks like this should be a Game 1 victory for Garouken. Sosha says not so fast, does get a kill, but she's going to have her work cut out for her against 2 units here, as Jamming Thrust does barely any damage. I'm actually stunned by how well Sosha tanked that up. That was incredible. As the throw comes out from Yuffie, it's just enough to kill Sosha, and I will say for only a 30 cost unit in our format, Sosha actually did pretty well in that fight, but it was not enough, and that is a Game 1 victory for Corked and Screwed. Heading into game number 2 here, looks like both teams decided to stick with the same units, not changing up any of the roster. We'll see if there are any other changes in the setup, though, as Yuffie's going to go Wu-Tai Dash. Looks like the exact same positioning from Garouken. So he said, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're good to go. I can win this again in 2 games. Here comes the Shadow Flux coming up from Sweetheart Ildira, so she's got that AP restore. Everything going the same as turn 1, or game 1 rather. Spirit of Wezette coming out from the Glaciella. I'm looking at the turn order here, and Sosha's going to go before Warrior of Light. I believe this is the switch up from Mr. Aloha, so maybe the agility not being right on the first turn. Way of the Void comes out. Actually, no, I think Sosha did go before Warrior of Light here, but it looks like the positioning is different because Warrior of Light is Keenblading at the moment. That's going to hit all 3 units. He's going to walk forward, so this positioning is definitely better from Mr. Aloha compared to the first game, maybe realizing his mistake in the first game. Momentum coming out from Glaciella with the King Bradley TMR, the haste and reaction block rate, Dragon's Might again onto Sosha. So basically all of the same abilities from both sides, but really the big question is, does the position change from Mr. Aloha make a difference with the tank out front? We're going to have to find out. So the Brumal form is online for Yuffie. She's going to dodge those guaranteed hits for 3 turns. Silma's going to start channeling another fast cast. This should be on Sweetheart Ildira just like last time. And Warrior of Light, what is he going to go for? Does he go for Brave Presence again like game 1? Yes, he does. Defense up, Spirit up, Hate up. He's going to start to walk forward. And there is that fast cast I just talked about. So double fire evasion girls, very, very speedy at the moment. Beacon of Reform comes out from Glaciella. We'll have to see how this plays out. Yuffie is going to start walking forward. What does she go for? She should be able to find damage. She's going to jump way up into the skies, try and pull some sort of pierce damage onto the Warrior of Light. Sweetheart Eldira, she's actually going to find a limit break. I think this finds Sosha in the back. I believe this also hits her, not just Warrior of Light, which could be pretty massive for Garouken here. The CT down is massive. It does just that. Looking at the turn order, Sosha would have went next, and she is way down in the turn order. This is why Sweetheart Eldira is so good. That limit break is nuts. 7k damage and dropping the healing power coming out from Yuffie. That is massive, considering Warrior of Light is a very much heal-based tank, especially versus evasion units, where he can sometimes just self-heal himself when it's his turn. Fatal Bind does a lot of damage, but barely does not clean up the kill, and this is maybe the first break that Mr. Aloha catches in this fight. If he's going to have a chance, that is it. Yuffie gets the standard attack, finding the kill on Warrior of Light, but apparently cannot find an AoE there. So these double win girls are going to get a chance, but Triple Cross goes off. I think 2 of the hits were dodged. Only 1 goes through, and that is not what you want to see if you are Mr. Aloha. This is going to be hard to find a kill here. Jamming Thrust does about 1200 damage onto the Glaciella Flagbearer. Jamming Dive, oh my goodness, does not find a kill, but actually a ton of damage onto both the Silma and Sweetheart Eldira, and honestly, Sosha tanked that damage from Eldira quite well. Glaciella is actually going to chain up here. The Triple Cross kills the Silma, but Eldira dodges all 3 hits. The accuracy is not quite there for Glaciella, and Yuffie is going to get an opportunity. If she finds a blind here, this game might be over right now, but no, she's going to go for Fiery Banishment, remove the Protect, and Sosha is still standing. I am honestly so impressed with how this Sosha is doing. She's tanking hits like crazy. She's going to jump up into the sky, so she's going to live until this attack goes off. Blinding Trinity does a little bit of damage, not much, going to eat through that barrier, but the blind does not land, and the Dragon Dive finds the double kill. Sosha double kills them to end the game. Honestly, she hard carried that fight. That was incredibly impressive, and we are heading to a game 3. Heading into game 3, guys, and Team #Pokesquid are sticking to their name with these Spear Girls, but Garouken says, hey, the team comp is just fine. I can still win with this. And what is the switch up coming out from Garouken? Because this looks like the same positioning as game 2. I imagine Aloha sticking with the same position as game 2. No, it looks like he switched to the other side of the map. So interesting enough, Spirit of Wezette comes out from Glaciella. This will not hit all 3 units. I wonder if Mr. Aloha maybe predicted a positional change, but it looks like Sweetheart Eldira is actually going with the Subterfuge buff to try and get more evasion. Says, hey, my team wasn't dodgy enough, got to make them more dodgy for this game. And I'm just noticing this Sosha has 11,000 health. That is a very, very healthy amount, but here comes the Keen Blade from Warrior of Light, and similar to game 1, Mr. Aloha's Warrior of Light is walking backwards to get that off, and if it's anything like game 1, this could be rough for Mr. Aloha. We'll have to see. The momentum buff comes out from Glaciella, so very similar to the first 2 games. Pretty much all the buffs are the same, except for the Sweetheart Eldira, who is rocking that evasion buff instead of the Shadow Flux. So here comes Silma, getting another haste online. I imagine this is Brumal Form coming out from Yuffie. It is. It is the guaranteed hit nullification, the one-hit shield, and we'll see. Here comes Sweetheart Eldira. What other skills does she have on? I don't know if she has any more buffs, but this is a limit break. However, it's only hitting Glaciella here. How much damage is this going to do with the barrier online? This might be actually really good for Mr. Aloha. Only 800 damage, and that limit break is massive, only hitting 1 unit. This might actually even allow Warrior of Light to walk forward, as this is the Brave Presence. Looking at the CT, Yuffie's going to go, and then Glaciella, so she might still have an opportunity to hit. That limit break actually going very well for Team #Pokesquid, but here comes Yuffie with the Bloodbath. 1 hit of the barrier already gone. She's going to start a nice little Fire Slash chain, but honestly, that is soaked so well by Glaciella with her new 140. She's an absolute beast. Triple Cross goes off, finding Eldira, I think, all 3 times, but missing Yuffie all 3 times, oddly enough. And here comes Sweetheart Eldira. Fatal Bind coming through, 4,000 damage onto the Warrior of Light. Tanked decently well here. But here comes the Sosha, the carry of game 2, but apparently she cannot find damage here. Oh, she did not use that buff yet. That is why. Now she has guaranteed hits, and now she should be able to find a hit at least onto Eldira, even if the Brumal Form is still active for Yuffie. And she just decides to stand still instead of walking forward, actually buying herself some CT. That could be pretty good for Sosha. The fast cast onto Silma, so the entire party of Corked and Screwed is now hasted up and very speedy. Way of the Void getting refreshed, though. Apparently Sosha cannot find this angle onto Eldira. That is surprising to me. I'm actually not sure how that's possible, but Yuffie gets a bunch of damage down to the party. Ildira's just going to go for the standard attack, I think, out of AP. Triple Cross comes out again, killing the Sweetheart Ildira, and Mr. Aloha is up to a 3v2 advantage at this point. Warrior of Light, does he have the accuracy? He does not, which means he's going to Breath of Life and heal himself up. That's actually very good for Mr. Aloha. 3,500 damage coming out from the jamming thrust, but Yuffie, unless she finds a kill here, could be in trouble unless the accuracy is just not there for Mr. Aloha. What's going to happen here? Yuffie's going to jump up into the skies. This might actually buy her a turn, and that's going to do exactly that. This is basically a perfect shield, as Glacial is going to refresh her own barrier, but she can't deal damage because she was up in the air. Dragon Dive does a good chunk, drops the healing power as well. Can Soma find a kill on the Warrior of Light? I don't know. She's going to go for Shadow Flare. Gets reflexed by the Glaciella. I don't imagine that would have done a ton of damage, but it drops the AoE resist, kills the tank, and now here comes Sosha. Is she strong enough to find a kill on anyone here, or is it just a chunk of damage? Yuffie with 12 AP might move out of the way. She's going to go Wutai Dash, so agility up, unit attack resist up will actually make her more evasive. The jamming dive comes down on only Silma, and she's going to get another opportunity to deal some damage. This fight is coming down to the wire. Resistance break comes through, but honestly, still tanked so well by Sosha. What is this Sosha? She is just built different. Triple Cross comes through. It kills the Silma. Yuffie is down to one hit, and Mr. Aloha is on the precipice of pulling off this upset. Sosha's going to go next. Finds the standard attack kill. And would you believe it, team hashtag Pokesquid, Mr. Aloha finds the series victory in 3 games. Very well played. All right, guys, we've got a couple of juggernauts facing off here with Ram9, coach of the Rock Boys, versus MacRain of the Materia Hunters. This is the battle for first place in the Wezette division as Reagan goes leave this to me alongside Murmur and Miranda. Full red mage composition. And oh no, MacRain is running double wind into the Reagan. This could be pretty tough here, but I will never count MacRain out. He is a magician. Jealous Wrath comes out from Miranda. This is the Vega TMR. And one thing to shout out, guys, Ram9, Season 2 Grand Champion. MacRain is the only person to ever finish a season completely undefeated. We'll see if anybody else can match that this season. We'll have to see. Set the pace coming out from Minwoo. We've seen this before from MacRain. This is the Addison Ray TMR to try and get rid of any sort of haste on the other side. And considering there are 2 people with Red Mage in their kit with some haste, I think this is a very smart call from MacRain. Rebellious Spirit coming out from the Yerma. And if you guys haven't watched WDL before and seen MacRain's Yerma, this chick is absolutely disgusting. She can just murder people out of nowhere. Dario's going to walk forward. Fast Cast comes out from the Murmur. And now it's looking like this Addison Ray TMR is a very smart move from MacRain. So Reagan going to walk forward, going protecting Light of the Future, getting his courage online, as well as some other nice buffs. Reaction block rate, I believe, and Miranda's going to step forward. I imagine channeling a Waterga. Yes, it is. Does the sleep land? No, it doesn't. 663 damage. Tanked very, very well by the Dario. And we've seen before, MacRain's Dario is just built different. Here comes Murmur, though. Is she going to channel another haste? I imagine she does. Draining Seal does 1580. Tops him up. Increases his spirit, and now he is full health. How much does this ice unit do to him? Turns out nothing, because he is going to use Store. He cannot get in range. That big-ass boulder is in his way. Here comes Yerma, Reaving Axe. 2,400 is not a lot of damage. That's the least I've ever seen this Yerma do, but it does remove the haste because of that Addison Ray TMR. And I imagine that Dario is going to try and do that next same thing to Miranda here. Here comes another Waterga. How much does it do? Only 874 to Yerma. She has a ton of AoE resist, I believe. As Greater Law of Invigoration comes out from Minwoo, but I missed it. That Vega TMR lands the Berserk onto Dario, and that's huge for Ram9. MacRain is kind of up against it at this point. Soaring Axe Slash, though, going to do 6,500. Removes haste, removes Miranda. That is now a new effect from that skill, and actually gives Yerma courage. The Berserk Dario is going to walk forward. He can't do any damage, but he might still be able to tank up nicely. We'll have to see. This is an ice unit into Dario. How much does this do? Sonic Octostrike Blade. Holy shit. That was like 15k. That might be a new record for most damage in one turn by a unit. He just one-shot Dario. That was absolutely nuts. I know he was berserked, so I think he takes more damage. Here comes the Snipe Dagger, as she does just that. She snipes Murmur in the back line. This is a 2v1 in MacRain's favor, but this is a Minwoo and a win unit versus Reagan, who still has his self-heal online. I think I give the advantage to Ram9, but Azure Blade Strike going onto the Minwoo. She apparently does not have hate down at the moment. So here comes Yerma. What can she go for? Conquering Blow is 4,600. That's solid damage, but is it enough? Minwoo might be able to just heal herself back up. And can Reagan one-shot her is the question. With the elemental disadvantage, he might just keep hitting her and her just heal herself back up. MacRain might still be able to win this. No, Reagan smartens up. He says, I'm going for the Yerma. I'm going for the win unit. But here comes Minwoo again. She should have another heal. Yes, she does. Greater Law Invigoration doesn't fully heal her, but heals her enough. And Yerma's going to get another chance here. How much damage can she do? Conquering Blow is 4,200. She still has her Courage online. She has 58 AP. MacRain is in a decent spot here. Reagan's going to go Azure Blade Strike, though. That's over 7k, dropping the agility. Is the agility down enough to lap? It is not. Minwoo will go before him, but Yerma will, but Minwoo is out of range to heal. Conquering Blow does 5,100, but it's not enough. The CT up on Reagan should allow him to kill this Yerma. Crimson Blade Strike's going to do it. Removes the Courage, and now it is a 1v1 versus Reagan for Minwoo. Does she have offensive spells turned on? Minwoo, this is your moment. 5 actions left. What does she go for? She's channeling a spell. This could be an Ultima. Azure Blade Strike comes out for 5k. Who has more health? I think Minwoo does. It is Ultima. Is this enough? Wait, he has Courage. Oh my god, it's going to proc Courage. 2 actions left. It's the last turn, and Minwoo goes next. She's going to heal herself. This is going to end on turns. Reagan has 1 health, and Minwoo is full. And somehow... Dude, MacRain is a wizard. He just beat that Reagan with 2 win units. I know that he had with Minwoo, who is technically a fire unit, but that is impressive as hell. Congratulations, GG, for the game 1 win for MacRain. Heading into game number 2, guys, a switch up coming from both sides. Ram 9 running Surges, Amnelis, and Alphonse. Very, very interesting comp coming out here as the zombie TMR comes out from Amnelis, so very similar to Skahal. She has that Courage that can't be nullified or can't be dispelled, as Dragoon's Pride comes out from the Surges. And with zombie TMR, she's going to be hard to get rid of. Words of Reproach coming out from Snow, though. So this is the Edward Elric TMR. Gives him some regen, some unit attack resistance, and that is a very beefy Alphonse, 16.4k health. Azumi Stance going to come out, Physical Barrier along with Defensive Piercing. This should be the re-raise coming out from Mashri. And speaking of new 140s, I know I said this on Glaciella Flag Bearer in one of the videos, but this is 140 Balo. He's got some upgrades. It is his time to shine, as Mashri now has a re-raise online. Close call. Snow has his self-heal. He's going to walk forward. What does Mashri go for on the next turn? It's going to be Momentum. So King Bradley TMR, the other Earth units TMR on herself. And this should be an interesting fight here. Double Earth units into Alphonse, probably a smart call from MacRain. Did he predict this team comp switch? We'll have to see. So the Leaping Assault comes out. The slow does not land. Here comes Amnelis trying to deal some damage. Is she in range to do so? I'm not entirely sure. Taunting Blade does only 800, but he does gather some extra hate. Ternary Seal is going to only hit Balo, does 4,500. Honestly, tanked quite well. This guy got some massive upgrades in his 140. If you guys are not aware, he now basically starts the fight with a re-raise. When he re-raises, he turns to full health. He gains AP. He gains a bunch of stats. It's absolutely nuts. Surges with 43 AP, going to go Earth and Glory on the entire team. Lands the slow on Queen Mashri. That could end up being pretty huge. She will take her turn right away, though. And what can she get done on this turn? Can she find an AoE, or is this only onto the tank? Snow going to go next with a Ravage, get his own defensive piercing rate up. But man, this Alphonse is tanking so well. Oh my goodness, 9,500. That might be a new record for how much damage I've seen to an Alphonse. That was ridiculous. Ternary Seal going to hit all 3. Balo still alive before his re-raise comes out. Stalagmite Transmutation's going to knock him out, but here is Super Saiyan Balo coming back to life. Is it enough? He's gaining 41 AP, agility, attack, all that kind of good stuff. Surges, can he find a kill on Mashri? He will. She will come back to life with CT up, and she is no longer slowed. So looking at the turn order, how does it change things? It's going to be Balo into Mashri into Snow. This is looking decent for MacRain. Barely any damage coming out from the Balo, but he has almost 14,000 health, and he might still have some hate. Evocative Vestige comes out. That is enough to kill the Alphonse. It is very few times this season that we've even seen this Alphonse from Ram 9 die. He is an absolute monster. Smite 2 does 8,200 to the Surges, and now this is looking pretty good for MacRain here. But Amnelis is ready to go with probably a Ternary Seal onto all 3. I expect this to deal decent damage. Probably getting a kill onto Mashri. What does Surges have? Leaping Assault. Going to drop defense piercing rate on the 2 units, give himself some regen. Ternary Seal, how much does it do? It's enough to double kill. And Balo 140 is very good, but I don't think it's good enough to find the 2v1. Blade Bash will find a kill on the Surges, though. But man, with 22 AP against a Amnelis who still has her courage and re-raise, that is asking a lot of this very strong lad here. Photon Pulse is a couple of hits. He's going to tank it up. And, I mean, he's tanking very well, but he just doesn't have the damage. This is going to be the Esper coming out from Amnelis, though. Lunatic Voice, so running Siren for, I imagine, some slash resistance, some water attack, and some activation time down. Pretty good Esper here for Amnelis. Going to find the kill onto the Balo, and that is a Game 2 victory for Ram9 and the Rock Boys, meaning the next game is for all the marbles for that first seed. Who wins it? Let's find out. Heading into Game 3 here, guys, as I've said before, whoever wins this controls their own destiny in the final week for the first seed. If MacRain wins, he might just clinch it outright this week. If Ram9 wins, he is in control of his own destiny. We'll have to see. Evasion skills coming up from the Pissarro. Revitalize for the Yerma, getting some AP online. And it is Pissarro, Yerma, Dario versus the same squad Ram9 brought out for Game 2. He said that worked very well. I don't know if MacRain has an answer. Does he have an answer? We'll have to find out. Keenblade coming out from Dario. He's going to start moving forward. And what does Surges have? I imagine a Keenblade. No, actually, probably not. Dragon's Pride makes more sense as the team is a bit spread out. One thing I will say, though, working against Ram9's team here, Alphonse is pretty far away from the other team, and he is walking to the left. So, man, oh man, can they find damage onto the Amnelis before Alphonse is even able to get into the fight? This could be very, very interesting over this next turn or two. Rebellious Spirit going to come out from the Yerma. She's going to walk forward. Dario should be able to find damage on Amnelis, I believe. No, not quite. Saintly Wall going to come out. I thought maybe he could find a Draining Seal, but apparently she is just out of range, or he has that turned off. Leaping Assault coming through. Dodged by the Pissarro. Does do a decent amount of damage, actually, to the Yerma, though. More than I would have expected. Amnelis going to start channeling a spell, which I imagine is a Ternary Seal. Grease Lightning from the Pissarro. How much does the Limit Break do? This might just one-shot this Surge as 9,300 damage. Going to remove the haste, but it does not kill him in one hit. He crucially does live a hit. Ternary Seal coming through. 5,500. Yerma barely survives. Will she get an opportunity to put some damage down here? And the thing is, with Surges, he might even be running Hate. The standard attack from Yerma means she does not get the opportunity to go hit Amnelis or Alphonse in the back. And there's no healing coming out from MacRain's team here. Draining Seal does just a little bit of damage. And unless Pissarro is just insanely dodgy, I don't know how they're going to overcome this. Binding Javelin will take her, I believe, below the 70% threshold. But it's probably going to be too little too late. What is the casting time? Or does she just standard attack? No, she's going to go for the Limit Break, which means casting time does not matter. Advent is going to come through. She summons Meteor, basically right out of FF7. Courage procced onto the Pissarro. And this is looking rough for MacRain here in game number 3. Boulder Blockade for 2,400 damage. Ram9 heading into the week in second place. He's looking to try and win this to take over first. Draining Seal does not do a lot of damage. It heals up Dario a little bit. But Amnelis is going to go before Pissarro. Does the cast time go off in time before Pissarro can act on it? No, it doesn't. He could just go Strike of Ruin, but it's not enough damage to kill her. If it would have interrupted the cast, but it's not nearly enough. Amnelis is going to go nuts here with the Ternary Seal, killing the Pissarro, and you have to imagine this is all but over, guys, and we might have two teams tied at 20 points at the end of the week. Absolutely amazing series. Ram9 becomes the second team ever to beat MacRain in a regular season series. That was an awesome one to watch. GG to both players, and congratulations to Ram9. All right, guys, 8 weeks over and done with, 1 week remaining, and these standings for the Wezette division are pretty wild. I want to go through the placements, and then I will discuss it a little bit at the end in terms of tiebreakers and stuff like that, what can potentially happen. So first of all, we have a new team at the top of the table. Ram9, coach of the Rock Boys, with 20 points. Our Season 2 champion is coming on strong and is now in control of his own destiny for the first seed. MacRain and the Materia Hunters, exact same amount of points, also at 20, but obviously just lost to Ram9 this week, which means he is in second. Numero 80 of the Blind Enthusiast with 19, only 1 point behind. Chisei of the Heretics with 18. Myself, Zanarkand, Abes, and Garouken of Corked and Screwed both have 14. Greatestness of State Military 11. Shadow 91 of the Logic Breakers 9. Mr. Aloha of Team Pokesquid 7. And Bam of the Black Turtles with 2. Now, a couple of things I want to go over with you guys. First of all, the top 4 teams, you are going to see a like purple or pink asterisk next to these points. These 4 teams have not only clinched a playoff spot, but they have clinched a top 4 seed. The order of these top 4 seeds can shuffle around quite a bit. It's hard to say how this is going to end up, and the big reason for that is I take my face off the screen is these 4 teams play each other in the final week. Ram 9 versus Numero 80, MacRain versus Chisei. So a couple of things about this. Chisei is the only team out of these 4 who cannot finish in first place, but any of the other 3, there is a variation where they can finish in first, and all of them can finish somewhere between 2nd through 4th. So it's going to be a wild final week with these 4 teams playing against each other. It's pretty important to try and win, because if you lose and you potentially end up as the 4th seed or something like that, which is possible technically for anybody. I know it doesn't seem like it's possible, but it is possible for any of these 4 teams to finish 4th. You would end up playing against another team after week 9 and basically have an extra game to play. Who they're going to play against is an interesting question now, because thank you to Mr. Aloha of Team Pokesquid putting on a show, doing incredible work this week, pulled off an upset versus Garouken of Corked and Screwed, which means now my team, Zanarkand Abes, and his team both have 14 points. We are tied with 1 week remaining, and my team beat Garouken's team head-to-head, which means I have the tiebreaker. So simply enough, one of our 2 teams will be the 5th seed. If Garouken gets more points than I do in the final week, it will be him. In any other circumstance, it will be my team. Greatestness of State Military rocking 11 points. It seems like he would be able to maybe finagle something, but he can't. I looked at the tiebreakers, and essentially the best case scenario for him would be to beat me next week, which is totally a likely scenario because Greatestness' team is scary as hell, and I'm not looking forward to that matchup. But if he beats me 2-0, and let's say Bam pulls off an upset and wins 2-0 over Garouken of Corked and Screwed, we would all end up with 14 points. In that tiebreaker, we would have a circle of beating each other head-to-head. I beat Garouken, Garouken beat Greatestness, and Greatestness would then beat me. It would go to the plus-minus tiebreaker, which in this situation, I would be even. Greatestness would end up as -1, and Garouken would end up -2, which means I would end up winning that tiebreaker. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody, but that is why Greatestness cannot make the playoffs at this point. The Logic Breakers, Team Pokesquid, Black Turtles, looking for some exciting fights in the final week. Again, shout out to Mr. Aloha. That was an amazing upset, and I'm sorry, Garouken, but I really want to try and make the playoffs. And I want to say one thing real quick, because this is a very, very interesting thing. Season 2, heading into the final week, we only had 4 teams that made the playoffs, not 5. But I was in 4th heading into the final week, and all I had to do was win to make the playoffs. I did not win. I lost the final week against All Smoked Up, who happened to, at that time, to be the 7th seed in the division. Wouldn't you know it, I play against the 7th seed in the division. At that time, that 7th seed had 11 points. At this moment, that 7th seed has 11 points. So it's like the gods of this game looked at me and was like, hey, you get one more chance in the exact same situation you were last season. Win it in. We'll see if it happens. But honestly, Greatestness team is so damn good. It is scary. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to try my best to win. I'm glad to at least have an opportunity to try and make the playoffs. And if I don't make it, I will try and defend my Total Bowl crown. But it should be an interesting week regardless with all these teams. The top 4 look really interesting. And we'll see who makes it out of me and Garouken. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful day.